Well, as primary races continue across the country, both Republicans and Democrats are looking at the outcomes as a barometer for the future of their parties. Here to discuss, Josh Schwerin, Communications Director at Priorities USA, and Matt Brainard, Executive Director at Look Ahead America. Did I get the last names right, gentlemen? I did?
Yeah,
okay, good.
perfect.
So I passed that small test.
A+.
I'll start with you, Josh, because I sort of want to get a forecast of how these past 2 weeks have gone, and is that any indication of what we're going to see throughout the primary season?
Yeah, I think what you've seen is a continuation of a trend that's happened throughout the last year and a half, which is women are doing exceedingly well as candidates. And so
we saw that in Pennsylvania.
Saw it in Pennsylvania, where nearly all of the Democratic nominees are women. I believe there's one man. And right now there are no women in the delegation, so that's very likely going to change. That and the enthusiasm continues for Democratic candidates. So we've seen that in special elections and in off-year races, that Democrats are really enthusiastic to vote, and that's likely to continue into November. So that's a really good sign for us.
Okay, but I want to bring Matt in, because some people are saying this sort of blue wave is not going to be quite as wave-esque as some predict, because especially some of the left may be so far left that they're not going to hold a chance against some of the Republican candidates.
Yeah, there are two big warning signs that came out of Tuesday. I'm going to have to get my friend Josh here a shot glass to carry that blue wave round in. First of all, you saw the Democrats in their primaries, with an electorate that looks very different than the general electorate, select these rather extreme candidates in favor of very competitive, more moderate Democrats. So they essentially flushed 3 congressional seats that were competitive, 2 in Pennsylvania and 1 in Nebraska, in Omaha. So the other thing that happened was that within the special election in Pennsylvania, where Connor Lamb won, there was a special election for a state legislative district there that had been held by Democrats for 30 years, that Connor Lamb won overwhelmingly, that was won by a Republican. So I think that most of these races are going to come down to the fundamentals of the campaign, how strong the candidates are, rather than some kind of national trend.
And Josh, how effective has it been when we talk about some of these more progressive candidates, when they run an anti-Trump campaign? Is that working? Is that being sold? And are people buying it?
What we're seeing candidates talk about on the ground is actually more kitchen table issues. It's health care, it's tax reform, it's opioid abuse. There is definitely, all politics are local. Donald Trump will be the most important part of all of these elections, whether or not candidates are talking about him. But it's not a single issue message by any means. And you can't both have Donald Trump driving this turnout, which is dramatic across the board in lots of different races, states with different types of candidates, and also say that running against Donald Trump is a problem. The fact is, even according to polling from Donald Trump's super PAC, America First, 56% of voters want their member of Congress to be a check on Donald Trump. So that's going to be a really important factor.
Okay, but that being said, I want to bring it back. Are Republicans using him as a campaign slogan? Are they using some of the rhetoric that we hear from him? Let's say tax reform. We saw that in Ohio right ahead of the primaries. People were saying that I'm seeing the taxes.
So you see, the issue here is that, unlike presidents in the past, this president is very much an iconoclast. Love him or hate him, if I asked somebody to name 20 words to describe this guy, none of them would be the word Republican. Now, in states where the president won overwhelmingly, you've got some very vulnerable Democrats, like Indiana, West Virginia, maybe Florida. You'll see Republicans embracing that Trump message. But in other states, folks will have the opportunity to run their own campaign. But what Democrat candidates can't run against, especially House candidates, is Nancy Pelosi. She's going to be a drag on their ticket. Just this week, she came out and defended MS-13. And so they can't run away from her, whereas our candidates have a lot more room to maneuver, because our president is very much a force of nature, an iconoclast.
And I'm gonna let you have the last word, Josh. But for those who weren't paying attention, she came out and said basically that no humans should be called animals, referencing, of course, the quote that Donald Trump had referred to MS-13 gang members as animals. So there was this back and forth, and I want you to have the last word, Josh.
I think if Republicans are hoping that the minority leader is a more important factor in campaigns than the sitting president, they're really in for a surprise, and it's not going to be a pretty November for them.
All right, Josh and Matt, thank you so much. Appreciate it. I'm sure we'll have you back because primary season's just underway.
Can't wait.
Thank you.